You know the saying, quality over quantity. Well, today, we're applying that to learning. Instead of just cramming lots of info into our heads, we want to learn smart. So let's dive into the psychology behind learning and see how we can hack the system. If you love aesthetic videos with practical advice, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so you never miss an upload. Let's get started. First up, what even is learning psychology? To understand how to learn better, it helps to know how learning works. So learning psychology is the science of how we get new knowledge and skills. How does the brain process new information? How does it store and remember the info later? And why do we sometimes forget everything we studied for that big test? Now, learning psychology is a huge field. But don't worry, we're going to cover some key concepts that will change your study game. Next, let's talk about cognitive load theory. Think of your brain like a computer. It has a certain amount of RAM, which stands for working memory. If you stuff too much stuff into your brain all at once, it's hard to work properly, kind of like a computer that's got way too many programs running. Let's say you've got a big project with tons of pages to read. One common way students study is by trying to read and memorize every single page in one go. But here's the thing, when you try to cram a ton of info into your brain without taking breaks or processing what you're relearning, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and end up with a headache. Both literally and figuratively, you may think you're being efficient by reading faster and faster, but the quality of your learning drops when you do that. So instead of doing this, break your projects into smaller pieces. When you study in focused 25 to 30-minute blocks, your brain can handle more information and you can stay focused longer. This is called a chunk. So use chunking to take large amounts of information and break them into small digestible parts. Your brain will thank you. Next, let's look at the forgetting curve. You probably remember that feeling of cramming for a test the night before and getting mostly all the answers right. But a few weeks later during finals, you're totally blanking. That's because we naturally forget a lot of the stuff we learn. In fact, in the first 24 hours, we can forget more than 70% of what we learn. But there is a way to fight this. German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered this in 1885. He tested himself by learning nonsense syllables. That's basically words that don't mean anything. After learning them, he would take breaks and then retest himself to see how much he remembered. He found out that if you learn something and don't review it, you'll forget it fast. But if you review it at the right times, you can keep the information for a really long time. That's called the forgetting curve. So, for example, if you're in school and you're learning about the human reproductive system, the teacher might teach it to you on Monday. On Tuesday, they might check on you to make sure you remember the main points. Then, maybe on Thursday they'll do a quiz, then a bigger test on Friday. If you continue to study the material even after Friday, you'll remember it almost perfectly. And that's exactly what happens when you use spaced repetition. So now you know how to fight forgetting. Next, let's talk about two ways of learning. There's passive learning and active learning. Let's start with passive learning. Think about a time you were studying. Maybe you were reading notes or highlighting textbooks. These methods feel good. They give us a false sense of achievement. It feels like you're doing something right, but your brain doesn't process the information deeply, so you won't remember it well. Now think back to when you were taught something in class or read an article and realized you didn't fully understand it. Then you asked yourself questions about it. That's active learning. You're forcing your brain to think critically about what you're studying. The idea is to put in the extra effort so you can get a greater reward. And that reward is deep learning, which leads to lasting understanding. So here's a quick pop-up comparison to show you the differences. And now we know that our brains can forget things easily and that passive learning isn't super effective. But why do we keep doing it? Well, it's comfortable. It's what we're used to. Our brains love familiarity. But if we want to learn better, we need to embrace discomfort. It's where the growth happens. So next up, let's explore a mindset called growth mindset. Did you know that your beliefs can affect your learning? Carol Dweck's research shows that your mindset about intelligence makes a difference in how well you learn. A growth mindset is the belief that intelligence and abilities can be developed through hard work and feedback. Someone with a growth mindset sees challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats. They don't see intelligence as fixed. So when they face setbacks, they don't give up. But what if you're facing writer's block? Maybe you're not feeling motivated. Check out our video how to boost your motivation instantly. We've got some simple tricks to get those creative juices flowing again. You can watch it here. Okay, back to learning. Now we know that we forget stuff easily, that passive learning isn't that great, and that our mindset matters. So here's a bonus tip. Your emotions play a huge role in learning. If you're stressed or anxious, it's hard to concentrate. Feeling calm and positive helps you focus better. So take breaks when you're overwhelmed. Get enough sleep and eat well. Speaking of sleep, it's a superpower for learning. While you're sleeping, your brain organizes memories and gets ready to learn more the next day. So aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. There's also something called the Pomodoro technique. Basically, you work for 25 minutes and then rest for 5 minutes. It helps you stay focused and prevents burnout. Okay, now let's look at 3 practical study tips backed by psychology. First up, we've got the Feynman technique. This is named after the famous Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. When you're learning something new, break it down into simple terms. Pretend you're teaching it to someone else, maybe a younger sibling or a friend. This helps you learn deeply and find gaps in your knowledge. Next, use mind mapping. Mind mapping lets you connect ideas visually. It's a great way to organize your thoughts and see how ideas relate to each other. Apps like Mindly or Smind can help you create professional-looking mind maps. Then there are apps. Apps can use spaced repetition to help you learn. Spaced repetition is all about reviewing material at the right times. It's based on the forgetting curve we talked about earlier. An app called Anki lets you create flashcards for spaced repetition. It's free and available online. To wrap things up, let's recap the key takeaways. Use these tips to become a smarter student and reach your academic goals. First, break down your study sessions into chunks. Keep them between 25 to 30 minutes long. This helps you focus and learn better. Second, move away from passive learning. Don't just highlight your notes or reread them over and over. Instead, practice active recall. Test yourself. Teach what you've learned to others or explain it with simple examples. Third, adopt a growth mindset. Believe that you can improve your learning. Don't give up when you face challenges. Challenges are chances to grow. Fourth, pay attention to your emotions and take care of yourself. If you're stressed or tired, take a break, breathe, and then come back to your studies. Get enough sleep and maintain a positive attitude. Finally, use spaced repetition. Use tools like Anki or even just your calendar to review material at the right times. This helps you remember what you learn. And remember, it's okay to start small. Even tiny changes can make a big impact over time. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy learning!